It's time to move on. All right? Whatever sense or whatever that means to you. It could be your ex. Maybe it's friends that you had to cut off, or something that's been on your mind. It's time to let that go. Let go of the past. I'm currently in my parents' home gym. Plot twist, this is my room when I was in high school. And it's very weird to see like equipment and stuff in here when I used to have my bed and my desk and all these sort of things in here. But I think that's like a perfect setting for this video, right? It used to be one thing and now it's another. It's no longer that thing that I loved and I had so much, like feelings for and an admiration for. It's no longer that. That's the same thing with relationships or friendships or certain situations, We get so stuck on the idea of what it was, we forget to focus on what it is now. So this is just like a reminder, it's time to move on. It's especially a great time to talk about this because we're coming into the new year in a few days, right? So think about, what do you want to bring in to the new year? Do you want to bring your feelings for your ex and how much you miss them, even though they could give two shits about what you're doing? God, I really hope you don't, because that's a waste of time at that point, right? Do you want to bring in friends who have hurt you and have done things, and do you want to bring things like that into, or even friends that you're close to? Maybe something happened and you've been holding a lot of feelings towards them, maybe not some good ones. Maybe it's time to let go of those feelings and maybe say, hey, I didn't like that you did this, but I still love you, man. And maybe it's that kind of a move on thing. It's not always, oh, I don't want to ever talk to this person again. It's taking that step to become a little bit better each day. And I know I said it's the new year. That's just some, phony excuse. There's nothing different from 31st of December to the 1st of January other than the year, right? Nothing changes. There's no new year, new me, whatever you want to call it. There's no drastic change like that. And you shouldn't be waiting until the new year to make changes. You shouldn't be like, I'm going to be better next year. This year is my year. Cut that shit out. Because realistically, how are you going to sit here for a whole month waiting for the new year saying, I'm going to change, and then magically change on January 1st? You won't. Change is a slow process that takes every day. It takes every moment, every minute. It takes every ounce of your being to take time to continue to take steps up the stairs to get closer, right? And I understand that you need time to get closure and reconcile with your ex, or certain situations, they take time. But how much time are you going to keep, spending doing this circle? Because as you grow older, you'll realize that moving on is something you're going to have to do over and over, damn near every day of your life, right? There's going to be things you're going to have to forget about. You're going to have to move on, Certain things, like maybe they've messed up your Starbucks order, right? You're going to bitch and moan, you're going to have a grumpy day because of one coffee that tastes a little weird. That's up to you. Personally, no. Maybe ask them to remake it. Maybe get a refund. But there's no reason to sulk over something so little as coffee. And life is so grand and so big in the big scheme of things. You think about it, you're going to be here for hopefully 80, 90 years, right? So a little relationship that lasted a couple months, maybe a couple years, that's not going to ruin your life. I think we just forget that. We get so caught up in the moment. And this is something I struggle with. I can't move on half the time, I won't lie. I've had some bad bitches in my life that I no longer have. It sucks, I think about what would have happened if certain things didn't happen. And really, that mindset is stunting me from growing. And it's keep those things that you hold so near and dear and that you wish you could have. If you ever get them back, ask anyone. If you're out there and you're like, yeah, I missed my ex, we didn't talk for months, we got back together, let me ask you, how did that end? Or how is that going for you? Probably not good, because you'll realize the person they were before the relationship person they were in the relationship and the person they are now after the relationship is completely different, all right? Especially if it's been months that you guys haven't been together. Because when you're in a relationship, you grow to depend on each other and work together in a weird way. So when you break that apart, you kind of lose yourself. So then now they're a completely new person, you're a completely new person. It's not going to be the same as when you two first met and the situations and how your life was back then. You just got to think about it like that. So let's think back to the bonsai tree, right? All these little leaves everywhere, time to snip them, right? Who do you want on your tree? What leaves are dying that you can accept? Or what leaves are dying that you need to snip? In most cases, you're lying to yourself about the first one, right? You want to keep certain things because it's safe, it's comfortable, it's what you're used to, right? But I think you'll find that the stress and the animosity that you have with these certain situations will be gone as soon as you snip them completely. There's no half snips, there's no nothing like that. Completely cut these people out of your lives. Completely get over these situations. Forgive your friends and forgive yourself too, because you need to move on from yourself. Like I said, you're a different person now. You're a different person from a month ago. You're a different person from a year ago. You're a different person from a week ago. You're probably a different person today than you were yesterday because something happened yesterday. Could have been minor, could have been anything. Personally, I was playing Minecraft and I died in a stupid ass way in trial chambers like 8 times, lost all my stuff, got super pissed. Now I have nothing, but, So now, I have a little bit of animosity towards some parts of Minecraft. They're kind of stupid, but I digress. You need to forgive yourself as well. We've all made mistakes. Let's look back on this last year, right? I know I've done some things. I've made decisions I shouldn't have made. I've talked to people I shouldn't have talked to. I've let people into my life. I've said more than I should have multiple times. I always do it. I get my blabbermouth. That's why I'm on here talking to a camera. But I'm sure you can relate to at least one or many of those things, right? We've all made mistakes, even within the last year, right? So, do you want to keep feeling like shit because you can't get over something you did? Or are you going to let that go? Are you going to move on from that? And it goes back to this idea of forgive, but don't forget, because the exes, the bad friends, these situations you've been in, and the mistakes you made all made you who you are today. The bonsai tree can't have shape without the extra leaves. If there's no leaves on it at all, it'll just be a stick, right? Nobody wants a stick. Your tree, you have to let your tree grow, right? You have to branch out. And then once you have this wild mess, that's when you start trimming, because that's when you can start to see the shape inside of all of it. And that's the same thing with life. You have all these bad experiences, right? And then there's some good in there too. But you can't see the good if you only look at the bad. So you need to cut out the bad around the good. And that's how you come to this bonsai idea, right? It's a perfect analogy. It fits for almost anything. But don't even worry about the analogies of it, right? An analogy is a very easy excuse to explain things that we can't explain. Life may not be a bonsai tree. It's just an easier way to think of it, But for real, it's time to move on. Let's put those things behind us, right? Let's come in, to tomorrow even, but let's come into the new year with, a brighter perspective. We'll feel good if you just let some things go. Maybe even like physically talk to yourself, like look in the mirror and be like, hey, you did this and this, kind of fucked me up, but I forgive you. I love you, I don't know if that's going to work. I'm not a psychologist, but that might help. But I think that should wrap up this video. Make sure to move on, especially going into a brand new year. You got a fresh start, so they say. Just try to take a step every day to get a little bit better. And really, if there's something that's weighing you down, if there's a person in your life that you can't seem to get rid of, it's time to move on. All right? All right, I love you guys. I will be starting a Discord. So I'm going to be putting polls out there. If you guys have any video ideas you want me to talk about, topics, anything like that. I'll also have the list of the 6 steps. I did miss one. One of the steps was be a high-value man, but that will be in there. And then I'll have things about the bonsai and places to share your own personal experiences if you want to do that. I want to start building a community here as the channel starts to grow, hopefully. And yeah, so, if that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. Also, if you guys want to see me on like podcasts or something, if that's easier for you to listen to, that'll also be something I'll put out in the polls. But that'll probably be out next video. I'll probably put a link in there. But yeah, thank you for watching. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your new year, and I'll see you guys probably tomorrow.